Hey guys, so welcome to the show. So we're going to be doing a lot of content going into this particular month with the SA20 happening. I think the best possible option for me is to probably give you guys a normal 7 o'clock show about a topic that I'm interested in discussing because there's going to be a lot of cricket. The New Zealand tour is happening very, very soon. So there's a build up to that while the SA20 is happening at the same time. So there's a lot to talk about with regards to cricket in South Africa. And I think that we can have a little show while the game is on, maybe a little bit of a watch along on this daily show, looking at what's happening on the game while we are streaming live here as well on Cricket Fanatics magazine. So, on today's show, I've got an interesting topic. We're going to talk about who are the top South African 4 day cricket openers in the last 5 years. Now, we know that there's a spot available in that um, New Zealand squad. There's obviously an opening position available now that Tony De has signed with DSG, who's currently playing a game against my Cape Town in match 2. And I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to look at the other openers within the country and see which ones are knocking on the door as a potential replacement for Dean Alga down the line as well. Because if Tony De does not take that place, we're going to have a conversation about that too. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers and we are not far away. So please get involved and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell as well for all future videos. We are very close, guys. So please get us there as quick as possible. We've also launched the SA20 edition of the magazine. So go ahead and get your copy straight away. All issues are 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. And I thought that I should also share with you something special that we've launched recently. Now, if you guys have had have had a if you guys have a business or you have an entrepreneur or you have products that you want to sell or you know anybody that does, then get involved with our Cricket Fanatics magazine Business Corner. We have recently launched this and we are really excited about it. So you can go to the landing page and you can get all the information that you need about that over here on the show. So please go ahead and do so. It's very important for you guys to actually know about these things that we are launching as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this topic with you guys. So please, let's get into it straight away. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. And this is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin. And this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South African cricket, all the major talking points. And we're going to have a little bit of SA20 talk as well as the game goes along. Now, I will always speak about SA20 if there's a South African that performs. You know that there's a lot of overseas players that are also involved in this tournament. So I like to talk a little bit about the South African players and highlighting them. We know that Rob Walter made some very bold statements after the World Cup recently. He said that this SA20 is an opportunity for some players to put up their hand for the T20 World Cup side. Now there are a couple of spots I would say up for grabs in the T20 side, and I think that we can really look at this tournament to see which South Africans perform under pressure. Now, in this game, it's game 2, but basically only game 1 because the first game rained out in Gqeberha. We didn't get to see the defending champions play, unfortunately, against Joburg Super Kings. But the game 2, there is some rain around in Durban. They managed to stay on, even though it is raining. So I don't know when they're going to decide to come on the field and maybe cover up. But it has been raining for quite some time in the game, in the match, as I speak. So Durban, we always know that there's going to be possibility of rain around. Quinton de Kock made a funny joke at last year's press conference about that, and we have it on our TikTok account as well. We do have a video over there of him making that joke about the weather in Durban and T20 match and matches in general. But the highlight so far in the game is definitely Ryan Rickleton. Ryan Rickleton came out as an opener in this particular match, and which was not a major shock because we know that he does open the batting for the Lions sometimes in white ball cricket, and in T20 cricket, I think it's the perfect position for him. He's a type of player that he is quite expansive, he is quite attacking, and it is something that I'd like to see from Ryan Rickleton in the future. Maybe perhaps he can be that replacement for Quinton de Kock. There's a lot of talk about that. Who's going to replace Quinton de Kock at the top of the order? And when you have a look at someone like Ryan Rickleton and the way he played his innings today, he was absolutely fantastic in his approach. The way he handled himself from the start, he had Rassie van der Dussen at the other end, two South Africans opening for my Cape Town. And it was interesting because it's completely two different types of players. You know, Rassie van der Dussen is normally a type of guy that takes his time to get in and measures his innings quite well. But Ryan played an exquisite knock, 87 or 51 balls, six fours, six sixes, a strike rate of 170. He was absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of the shots that he played were very much like Quinton de Kock like shots. We know about that pull shot that he plays, that he likes to play. It's almost like a scoop pull shot. Ryan Rickleton actually did that quite a bit today, and he was quite attacking, quite confident, very good at the crease. And I think that he's really put up his hand, for so far in this tournament. We would like to see, obviously, consistency. I don't think one good performance gets you selected in a World Cup squad. I think you need to put a couple of performances on the trot, um, to on the board to be able to really put your hand up for a World Cup squad. So let's see how Ryan progresses. Maybe he can put his name in the hat as a potential opener in the World Cup, as one of the potential options in the team. We'll never know how we're going to go forward. How long Quinton de Kock is going to stick around in T20 international cricket. So there is a lot of talk around that and what we're going to do with regards to the team. We know that we think personally Riza Hendricks and Quinton de Kock are the opening pair. Currently, should be the opening pair for the T20 World Cup. But we do know that Faf du Plessis, there's been talks around Faf du Plessis as well, maybe returning. And we don't know where in the lineup he would fit in, but it possibly could be as an opener. But I think that it would be quite unfair to someone like Riza Hendricks, who has been really good and really consistent for a very long period of time. So the SA20 has finally kicked off. The first innings is currently on as we speak. And I thought that it's important for me to talk on this daily show about Ryan Rickleton's performance. It was absolutely breathtaking to watch the way he really measured his innings. Oh, he actually went guns ho first up. We got Deva Brevis as well, a little bit of Deva Brevis, one boundary, but we didn't get to see him completely go carnage. He'll probably kick on in the latter half of the tournament. I hope that Coach Robbie does stick to the youngsters, even if they don't perform. We got Easter. This is really tough. Esterhuizen as well. Connor Esterhuizen that also performed 17 of 10, two sixes at the strike rate of 170. So he also showed some signs of what he can do. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these younger players perform throughout this SA20 and whether they can continuously put on the runs on the board. My Cape Town is actually flying in this match. They look like they're going to post to close to 200 if they can continue striking the way they are. So it's going to be a very interesting game there. But I think the highlight for me, obviously, is obviously Ryan Rickleton. He was absolutely phenomenal today in the match. So let me get into the show and the crux of this show. With the New Zealand tour happening, there's some things that I would like to discuss. Now, it's a 14-man squad now that Tony DeZorzi has signed with TSG in the SA20. So he's unavailable for the New Zealand. So what that does is it opens up a position. Now, we can either go with someone like Reinhard van Tonder, who has opened once, I think, for the Knights, or we can bring an opener into the side to partner Neil Brandt at the top of the order, that someone that has been consistently scoring runs over the last couple of seasons. So I've went and done my homework today. It took me a hell of a long time to actually get this information. I had to go through each season, go through each fixture, and see how each particular team's openers and whether how many who opened for each team throughout the 4-day campaigns. So in 2019-20 season, I've started with that, and we've gone till the current season, right? So in the 2019-20 season, it was still franchises. So Cobras, Titans, Lions, Dolphins, Warriors, and Knights. They were the in they were in those franchise teams. So at the Cobras, we had Janeman Malan and Matthew Kleinfeld that opened. Then we had, for the Titans, you had a couple of openers, Tony DeZorzi, and you had Andrea. I've always struggled to pronounce his name, so bear with me. Agathangalu, and then you had Wesley Marshall and Victor Mahlangu. Those were the different openers for the Titans throughout the season. They chopped and changed quite a bit. I can't remember back then whether how much it had to do with injuries and how much it had to do with um, injuries and how much it actually had to do with just changing because of form. But the Titans had quite a few changes within that side. Then the Lions had Joshua Richards and Dominic Hendricks. The Dolphins had Cyril Evie and Grant Rulofsson. The Warriors had Matthew Brzezinski opening the batting there with Eddie Moore. The Knights had Grant Makwena and Reinhard van Tonder opening. That was Reinhard van Tonder's first season. And then I've gone to check who are the top three from each season. But I'm first going to read you out who were the openers from every season. So in the openers in 2020 and 2021, Aiden Markram and Dean Alga opened the batting for the Titans. For the Knights, it was Matthew Kleinfeld and Jacques Snyman. For the Dolphins, it was Cyril Ewe, Grant Rulofsson. For the Warriors, it was Gian Kluti, Eddie Moore. For the Cobras, it was Janeman Malan and Peter Malan. And then for the Lions, Dominic Hendricks, they had Ryan Rickerton, who played 3 games as an opener. He scored 35, 194, and 14 in those 3 matches. Reza Hendricks opened for 1 game, and Joshua Richards opened up for 3 games in that particular match. So we had quite a few batters opening for the Lions. Then it was the kick started. Then we had the kickstart of the Division 1. It was the first inaugural season of Division 1. And then we had the Dolphins, who had quite a few openers that season. Cyril Ewe opened. Bryce Parsons opened 4 times. Tamsanga Kumalo opened up 3 times for them. Junaid Sayed once and Grant Rulofsson twice. Then for the Titans, we had Neil Brandt, Grant Makwena, Dean Alga, and Jordan Herman. For the Warriors, we had Eddie Moore that opened up 4 times, Matthew Brzezinski the entire season, and Vian Lubbe 3 times. Then for the Knights, Matthew Kleinfeld and Jacques Snyman again. For the Lions, we had Joshua Richards, Dominic Hendricks that majority of the time opened up, and then Reza Hendricks once. And then for Western Province, we had quite a few. We had Tony DeZorzi, Yasin Valley, Gavin Kaplan twice, Daniel Smith twice, and John O'Bird 3 times. For Northwest, we had Lesego Senokwane and Wesley Marshall. For Boland, we had Peter Malan, Ismail Khalfieldin, and Sebo Siki. And then for the 2022-23 Division 1 season, we had Boland, that had Ruan de Blanche, Ismail Khafieldin, Stian van Zyl, and Peter Malan. Then Western Province had Tony de Zorzi, Eddie Moore. Lions had Dominic Hendricks, Joshua Richards, Riza Hendricks, and Rassie van der Dussen. Warriors had Vian Lubbe, Jordan Enman, Kyle Jacobs. Titans had Neil Brandt, Dean Alga, and Javishan Pillay. Northwest had Grant Mokwena, Wesley Marshall, and Lesego Senekwane, but Grant and Lesego opened up majority of the time. The Dolphins had Cyril Ewe, Grant Ruluson, Bryce Parsons, and Tsepeng Totole. Both of them, Tsepang Totole, sorry. Both of majority of the time it was Cyril Ewe that opened up majority of that season. For the Knights, we had Matthew Kleinfeld, Isaac Tichali, and Patrick Kruger. And then in the 2023-24 season, which is the current season, the Dolphins have Cyril Ewe, Tsepang Totole. Lions have had Joshua Richards, Dominic Hendricks, and Mohamed Manak, but Mohamed Manak only opened up really, I think, in one game. Then for the Warriors, you had Jordan, Herman, Jefferson Pillay. For the Titans, you had Neil Brandt, Dean Alga, Matthew Kleinfeld. For Northwest, you had Grant Mokwena, Lesego Senekwane. Kaiser in England, we have Kagiso Rapolana, Ben Compton. Western Province had a couple of openers with Eddie Moore, Tony de Zorzi, Daniel Smith, and John O'Bird, but you know, because of other fixtures, SAA games, etc., they had to mix up the team. Boland has had Yanaman Malan and Peter Malan open majority of the time, but Maya Joseph and Aviwe Majima have also opened this season. So those have been your openers throughout those 5 years, from 2019-20 season right through until the current season. But what I've gone and done is I went to go look at who are the top 3 players that have played, who are the top 3 batters for every single season since the 2019-2020 season. I went and did some research and I checked their averages and I've checked their runs, the amount of hundreds scored, all of those type of things. I've went to go and research so that I can bring you guys, you know, the best possible information to you. So here it is on the screen. In the 2019-20 season, Reiner van Tonder opened for the Knights and he scored 843 runs at an average of 70.25. He had 200s and 550s with a high score of 204. Eddie Moore was second. He had 705 runs, 50.35, 100 and 450s with a high score of 228. And Grant Rulofsson was excellent that season. He scored 575 runs at an average of 44.23. He had 300s and 150 with a high score of 142. Then in the 2020-21 season, Dominic Hendricks was one of the best batters in that season. He scored 562 runs with an average of 43.23, 200s and 250s with a high score of 130. Peter Malan scored 638 runs at an average of 53.16. He had 200s and 250s with a high score of 264. Cyril Ewe had 569 runs at an average of 47.41 with 200s and 250s with a high score of 199. And then 2021-2022, Peter Malan had 601 runs at an average of 120.20 with 200s and 250s with a high score of 290 not out. Joshua Richards had 496 runs, 55.11 average with 200s and 150 with a high score of 151. Grant Mokwena had 482 runs with an average of 48.20, 100 and 350s with a high score of 154. Jordan Enman had 618 runs, average of 61.80, 100 and 350s with a high score of 187 not out. Tony de Zorzi had 507 runs with an average of 101.40 with 200s, 050s, and a high score of 304 not out. Neil Brandt had 432 runs with an average of 61.71 with 0 hundreds and 550s with a high score of 95 not out. And in this current season so far, Ben Compton has topped the charts with 438 runs, average of 48.66, 100 and 450s with a high score of 170. Jordan Herman on the list again, 435, average of 54.37, 100, 350s, and 111 not out. And then Tsapang Tutole at 418 runs, average of 52.25, 100, 350s, and a high score of 146. So the question is, out of these openers that we've seen over here, which ones would you say are the ones that are next in line when it comes to the the Proteas team? Now we know for the SA tour to New Zealand, these players, some of these players won't be available. So that causes a little bit of an issue. Renner van Tonder can open. You could see in the 2019-20 season, with that average of 70 as an opener, that he can open the batting, but it's not necessarily his best position. His best position is number 3. So out of the others that are not in the SA20, those are Eddie Moore, Dominic Hendricks, Peter Malan, and Joshua Richards, Grant Mokwena, and obviously Neil Brunt's already in the team, Ben Compton, and Sapang Dotole. Those are the guys that have been mentioned quite a bit, that have been doing well so far in the last 5 seasons. But for me, for the future, it will probably be Jordan Herman for me. That will be that future opener for South Africa, I think. And then, or the next in line to replace Dean Alga, I think that if he can continue his form this season and continue scoring runs like he has been, then we definitely will be seeing him in the SA setup very, very soon. So that is something that I think is almost a certainty, I think, in my opinion. But out of the guys that are available right now that are not in the SA20, I think probably the best option would probably be for Coach Shukri. If he's going to call up an opener to that side and to that squad, it would have to be, for me, someone like Eddie Moore, who has been consistent as an opener. He hasn't done too badly at the moment either. And before that 2019-20 season, he was very consistent as well as an opening batter. So those are the guys that I wanted to highlight, and I think I wanted to really make you guys aware of, so that you can see really who are the openers that have been performing consistently. And I think consistency is so important when it comes to selections. You pick players based on consistency 100%. It has to be that. It has to be that way. If you want to really pick the best possible team, then you have to go with the guys that are in form, and the guys that have performed more than one season. I think someone that maybe will be unlucky to not have been in SAS sides, etc., is someone like Dominic Hendricks, who tends to score runs every single season. He's in and there about. So he is also someone that I think maybe people will say he's a little bit too old now. I think Peter Malan is in that same bracket, consistently scoring runs all the time. I see now Yanaman Malan is now moved back to as an opener. He was trying that number 4 position and it wasn't really working for him at Poland. But now he's gone back to that opening position that got him so much success when he was at the Cobras. I mean, he won Player of the Seasons, etc. So he was doing really well in that position. At the Cobras. So I don't know why they decided to move him. I heard that he was trying to maybe push for a number 4 position in Proteas team. That's the rumor that I heard, but it hasn't been 100% confirmed that is the case. So I'm just speculating over there with regards to that. But I think as an opener, that's his position. That's where he batted, and that's where he's had most of his success. So I think it's maybe a good decision for him to move to an opening position when it comes to this. When it comes to the team, to the Boland team, and I think maybe he can then be knocking on the door again as an opener for South Africa down the line. He hasn't had an opportunity really in red ball cricket in SA colours really, or for South Africa, he hasn't gotten an opportunity yet, or he hasn't been in the mix. I think there's maybe certain things in his game technically that he still needs to work out. We definitely see that in white ball cricket. So let's see what happens with regards to that. So yeah, that's the summary of that's the main thing that I wanted to cover on today's show. We do see now we're also going to have some SA20 talk now that it is the first innings is over for my Cape Town. My Cape Town completely slaughtered the Durban Super Giants so far, 207 for 5. Uh, we can see that Coach Robbie's fingerprints are all over this team. It's 100%. You can see that the batters are going out there and they're just going and they're swinging and they're trying to play at an attacking brand of cricket, and it's gotten them 207 on the board in their first match. So it is something that we can be um, happy about from an entertainment perspective. That the first game that we've actually seen now, because the previous one was rained out, that we have a high scoring game on our hands. So a massive chase for the Durban Super Giants, but they do have a very talented squad. So Quentin de Kock, Matthew Breeski, Nicholas Pura, Nadi Klaassen, Kimo Paul, Vian Mulder, Dwayne Pretorius, Sinan Sabrayan, Keshav Maharaj, Reece Topley, and Richard Gleeson. But I think that batting order is quite powerful. They will need obviously a massive performance from Quentin de Kock to really take them forward and really muscle them forward and give them a good start, because Ryan Rickleton set the tone for my Cape Town 100% and really put them in a strong position. And that's how you win T20 games. If one of your openers can bat majority of the overs, you normally would put yourself in a good position for the match. You set yourself up for uh, a strong match and a favorable match for you. 208-run target is not a small target to chase. That's a massive target to chase in a T20 game. So very interesting that they managed that in Durban. Spinners never really had much to say. Keshav Maharaj got 1 for 26 in 2 overs. Prinal Subrayan got north for 33. So, but it was Richard Gleeson that they took apart, 1 for 47 in his 4 overs. He went an economy at 11. And also Reece Topley got smacked around, north for 53 with an economy of 13.25 in his 4 overs. So they really took the DSG bowlers, particularly the fast bowlers, apart there from in this particular inning. So we're going to have to wait and see what DSG can do um, to combat that and to come back. So on today's show, we've covered quite a bit. We've covered Ryan Rickleton's excellent performance. Uh, it was a fantastic performance from Ryan Rickleton. We've covered as well who are South Africa's openers in the last 5 years that have really put up their hand in 4-day cricket. I've shown you the stats. I've shown you who are the top 3 in every single season from 2019-20 to the current season. I've given you my selection of who I think is the next in line opener for the future, and who I think currently from that list should maybe get a call up if Coach Shukri decides to bring an opener onto the New Zealand tour. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Please don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe. We are very close to 5,000 subscribers, so please go subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also smash the like button, comment, and share, and go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your evening, and peace out.